Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. They say hindsight is 20/20. A year ago I thought everything was solid. Steady job, decent house, and a woman I was sure I'd spend the rest of my life with. I didn't see what was coming. I'm Roger, 34. Grew up in a small town. My parents were farmers, the kind of people who believed in hard work, early mornings, and saying little unless it mattered. I took that with me, kept my head down, did my job, stayed out of trouble. I work in IT, system security for a logistics company. Not flashy, but reliable. Pays the bills, gives me peace of mind. I've never needed much. Just a stable life, some quiet at the end of the day, and someone to come home to. Then I met Stephanie. We crossed paths at a work event I didn't even want to go to. She was the opposite of me. Loud, confident, dressed like she belonged on a magazine cover. People listened when she talked. She moved through that room like she was on stage, and somehow she noticed me. We started talking, and surprisingly it just clicked. Not long after, we were seeing each other regularly. It started off simple. Dinner dates, late-night drives, movie nights. She brought excitement into my life, and I brought calm into hers. Or so I thought. She made me feel like my quiet wasn't something to fix, like I was enough. Looking back now, I think I needed to believe that more than she ever meant it. But I didn't see it then. Things kept moving forward, fast. 6 months in, we moved in together. A year later, I proposed. Stephanie worked as a lifestyle consultant, helping people upgrade their image, build personal brands, whatever that meant. It always sounded a little vague to me, but she was good at it. She had charisma, a kind of charm that drew people in. She knew how to sell an idea, including the idea of us. In the beginning, her energy felt exciting, but eventually it started to feel heavy. There were these little comments, small at first, but they added up. She'd criticize my clothes when we were going out, joke about how I dressed too basic for someone in tech, suggest I lease a better car because, in her words, a Civic screams starter pack. Sometimes she'd just roll her eyes when I talked about my work. One night over dinner she said, "If I have to hear the word firewall again, I might lose it." Then she laughed like it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing to me. I shrugged most of it off, told myself she didn't mean anything by it, that it was just her personality. Blunt, direct, stylish. I figured I was being too sensitive. When we started planning the wedding, she took the lead. Designer venue, custom dress, high-end photographer. All top tier. I didn't flinch at the cost. I took on extra work, fixed up people's home networks on weekends, skipped vacations. I told myself it would all be worth it if she was happy. Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You give. You sacrifice. You try to rise to who they need you to be. What I didn't realize back then was that I was the only one doing that. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are usually predictable. Emails, meetings, the usual grind. But this one flipped my whole life upside down. I had finished a client call ahead of schedule and thought for once I'd leave work early. Stephanie had been stressed about the wedding lately. Between the florist, the seating charts, and some vendor issue I didn't fully understand, so I figured I'd do something nice. I swung by her favorite Thai place and grabbed her usual order. I didn't text her. I wanted it to be a surprise. The kind of small gesture that says I'm thinking of you, even when you're not around. But the moment I stepped inside, something felt off. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. No music, no TV, just silence. At first I thought she might be asleep, but then I heard her voice from the bedroom. She was on speakerphone. Her tone was light, playful. I paused halfway down the hall, something instinctively telling me not to move. "No, he has no clue," she said, laughing. "He's too busy being my little IT superhero." I froze. My stomach dropped. I didn't know who she was talking to yet, but I knew that laugh. I'd heard her use it in public, never with me. That laugh wasn't warm. It was sharp, mocking. Then a man's voice came through the speaker. Calm, casual, like this wasn't the first time they'd talked like this. His name was Mark. "So we're still on for Thursday?" he said. "Of course," Stephanie replied. "He's working late that night. I've got the place to myself." I felt the container of noodles in my hand tilt. My fingers were slick with condensation, but I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe right. I stood there, heart pounding in my ears, locked in place by her words. Who the hell was Mark? My mind started racing, trying to catch up with what I was hearing. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe she was role-playing for something, talking about someone else, joking, something. Anything but what it sounded like. But she kept going. I mean, I love Roger. Kind of. He's reliable, you know? But God, he's so dull. Like I have to force myself to get excited when he talks about his stupid work stuff. Mark laughed. Not a big laugh, a short, smug one, like he'd heard this routine before. And the wedding? He asked. Oh, it's happening, Stephanie said. You think I'm gonna waste that venue deposit? Besides, I want the photos. I've spent months planning this. I can always figure things out later. That broke something in me. It wasn't just the cheating, although yeah, that was brutal. It was the way she said it. Cold, like this wasn't her life. It was a project. Like I was a placeholder until she figured out something better. I didn't go in there. I didn't yell or throw anything. I didn't say a word. Instead, I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and opened the voice recorder. I hit the red button. She was still talking. Something about how she might invite Mark to her bachelorette party if the timing worked. Like it was all one big game. Like I didn't exist. Then she said something that hit even harder. I still can't forget our last night, she said. That hotel suite? The wine? The view? It was perfect. And Roger paid for it all. She laughed, loud, careless, like it was some inside joke they shared. I let it record for a couple more minutes. My hands were trembling. I could barely keep my grip on the phone. Then I stopped it, slipped it into my pocket, and quietly walked back out the way I came in. The bag of food was still in my hand when I got back to my car. I sat in the driver's seat and just stared at the dashboard. I must have sat there for over an hour. Windows up, no music, no calls, just silence. That was the moment everything changed. Not later. Not during a confrontation or argument. Right then, sitting in that car, holding dinner for someone who just told another man she was using me. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to. Every time I looked at her, I had to stop myself from saying something. But I knew if I did it in the heat of the moment, she'd flip it, cry, deflect, twist it back on me. And honestly, I didn't want just a fight. I wanted truth to land where it would hurt. So I kept quiet. Because if I was going to do this, I needed time, space, a plan. The next few days were torture. I went to work, came home, kissed her on the cheek like nothing had changed, while inside I felt like I was dying. Every smile she gave me felt fake. Every hug a performance. And I had to pretend I didn't know what I knew. I saved the recording in 3 different places. I printed out the phone records. I even cross-referenced her calendar to confirm the nights she met up with Mark, which turned out to be more than just Thursday. I talked to my friend Kevin, who'd been through a brutal breakup of his own. Man, you don't owe her quiet, he said. She made this mess. You've got every right to speak your truth. That's when the idea hit me. We had a joint engagement party coming up. Her idea, of course. A rooftop lounge in the city, rented out with catering, lights, music, a photographer even. She called it a brand moment. Said it would be good for her social presence. The next phase of our love story, she wrote in an Instagram caption with one of our photos. I didn't say much at the time, just nodded, let her plan it all. But now? Now it was perfect. All her friends would be there. Clients, her family, the people she cared about most, the ones she wore her best self around. She thought it was going to be her spotlight. I decided it would be my stage. I showed up late to the party, on purpose. Stephanie was already making the rounds when I arrived. She looked stunning, of course. Black dress, red lipstick, wine glass in hand. The room was buzzing with energy, laughter, music, until I walked in. I wasn't in a blazer or slacks. I wore jeans and a t-shirt that said, "Trust is earned" across the chest. Stephanie blinked at me. Roger, what are you wearing? Are you okay? I walked up to the mic near the DJ booth, tapped it twice. Hey everyone, I said. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say a few words about the woman I was about to marry. Stephanie's smile froze. I saw her glance nervously at her mom, who had just raised her wine glass. Stephanie is beautiful, smart, and ambitious. Very ambitious, I said. She's also been seeing someone named Mark behind my back for several months. A ripple went through the room. I held up my phone and tapped play. Her voice echoed through the speakers. I still can't forget our last night. That hotel suite, the wine, the view, it was perfect. And Roger paid for it all. Gasps. Then silence. You could hear someone set their glass down too hard. Stephanie lunged forward. Roger, turn it off. What the hell are you doing? I kept my tone calm. I'm doing what you didn't. Telling the truth. I turned to the crowd. There's no wedding, no engagement, no more lies. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. And with that, I walked out. The days after the engagement party felt like standing in the eye of a storm. I didn't answer Stephanie's calls. She blew up my phone. Dozens of missed calls within the first 24 hours. Then came the texts, long-winded messages saying she was sorry, that I'd misunderstood, that it wasn't what it sounded like. She claimed she never slept with Mark, that it was all harmless talking, said wedding stress made her say things she didn't mean, that she was venting. She even threw in the classic, I was just joking. Don't you know me better than that? I didn't reply. Not once. So she changed her tone. Voicemails started coming in hot, one after the other, screaming, crying, accusing. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You ruined my life, Roger. You're petty and cruel. You didn't have to do it like that. The switch from apology to blame was so fast it gave me whiplash. I blocked her number, changed the locks, and updated all my important accounts with new passwords. Anything she might have had access to. I wasn't giving her even an inch of my life back. And the fallout? It hit her hard. Stephanie had built a carefully curated image. The polished brand consultant, the woman with the perfect relationship and the dream wedding on the way. And just like that, the mask cracked. Her reputation took a hit. Several of her clients backed out. Her business partner, a woman named Renee, sent me a message saying, You did what a lot of people wish they could do. You exposed who she really is. Even her own sister reached out. I always thought something was off, she said. I'm sorry you had to find out like that. Her words stuck with me. Because the truth is, I didn't expose Stephanie to get revenge. I did it because I needed the truth to matter, even if it made people uncomfortable. I'd spent months being made to feel small, like I wasn't good enough, like I had to earn my place next to her. But in that moment at the engagement party, I took that power back. And now, she was left to sit in the mess she made. No edits, no filters, no audience clapping. Just silence. It's been 6 months. Do I miss her? Sometimes. Not her exactly. The idea of her. The version I thought was real. The truth is, I loved a fantasy. I loved the dream we built together more than I loved the person she really was. I heard she tried to make it work with Mark after everything blew up. It didn't last. Word is he bailed a few weeks in. Apparently, commitment wasn't really his thing. That didn't surprise me. But you know what? I sleep better now. I laugh more. I don't question my worth when I talk about my job or show up in my beat-up Civic. I'm not looking to date anytime soon. I'm working on rebuilding my trust. In myself, mostly. And if I've learned anything through all this, it's this. Never ignore the small signs. The quiet moments when your gut tells you something's wrong. Pay attention to how someone talks about you when they think you're not listening. Because love isn't just about the good days, the fancy dinners, or the picture-perfect Instagram posts. It's about respect. And when that's gone, no amount of planning, sacrifice, or forgiveness can bring it back. Thank you for watching.